What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Charm City Games, and I'm going to do my first video in a long time, getting back into the streaming game. And my first video for 2021, I want to do my top 5 games, of 2021, of 2020, excuse me. I will have a video for my top 5 most anticipated games for 2021 coming soon. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe the day after that, depending on how I feel, what I got going on. So let's get right to it. I'm gonna do my honorable mentions last. I'm just gonna give you my top 5 of the year for 2020. It's in no particular order. Number 1, Spider-Man, Miles Morales. That's the first that comes to mind, and that game is brilliant. Insomniac, 2 games in a row with Spider-Man 2018 and Spider-Man Miles Morales. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, they got some brilliant writers, and they got me a little teary-eyed. I gotta give it to them, like, especially at the end of well, I ain't gonna say what happened to Miles Morales, but in 2018, if you haven't played it by now, spoiler alert, Aunt May pretty much died. And it's the way she died. Excuse me. The way Aunt May died, I kind of felt it because Peter felt like he had no way out. He had no one else. And she pretty much opened up to him, saying how she always knew who he was. And that really hurt him because he couldn't really share that with her. Didn't have enough time. She died. So Insomniac, they got some good writers. They're gonna knock it out the park with that. They're gonna knock it out the park with that franchise. Next, I want to say another Sony exclusive, Ghost of Tsushima. I know that's my favorite game of 2020 because the accuracy of the culture, the gameplay, the vibrancy of the game, and just the authenticity I felt playing that game. I was like, wow. Now the story, it was an okay story, but that game, wow, it really impressed me. It was a lot better than what I anticipated. And I put a lot of time into that game. And the next one, another Sony exclusive, Last of Us Part 2. That game from top to bottom was great. Now, you can say whatever you want about the story. Me, personally, I didn't have an issue with playing with Abby and stuff like that. I thought it was pretty cool, pretty different. Just the graphics, the scenery, the way they were able to bring that dead world to life. It really showed the talent that they have It really showed the talent that they have at Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog, probably a top 5 developer in the gaming industry right now. I'm saying that they're a top 5 developer easily. Next up, it's going to be a Microsoft exclusive, Ori and the Will of the Wisp. That's my number 4 game of the year. That game, the color palette that they use, the vibrancy. When the game first launched on the Xbox One X, it did have some issues here and there. I did have some issues when it came to like frame rate being steady. It wasn't really glitches. It just wasn't consistent. But now that I have it on the Xbox One X or Xbox Series X, flawless, 120 frames per second at 4K. It's unlike any experience I've ever had playing on console, because I don't play on PC. So that 120 frames per second made a difference. 120 frames. Wow. 60. Now 60 is great. 120 frames. I loved it. And my number 5 game of the year, well, my 5th highest game of the year, I would have to say it was Rogue Company. Yes, that's a multiplayer game. It's free to play. I heard it was on PC first. When it came to console, I said, let me check this out. This looked like something interesting. And then I started playing it. Then I realized how much time I was putting into that game. And the hours and hours and days that just went by, I'm like, yo, I've been playing Rogue Company a lot. This is one of my favorite games. So, those are my top 5 games for 2020. And my honorable mentions, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. To me, that game is very, very similar to Ghost of Tsushima. Just the gameplay, the mechanics, and stuff like that. And my other honorable mention is Immortal Phoenix Rising. Now, I'm not a fan of Nintendo whatsoever, but it was something about this game that got my attention. And it got a lot of comparisons to Zelda. And when I played it, I was like, wow. Now, I have no problem with Zelda, just never played it, not a Nintendo fan. I heard a lot of great things about Zelda Breath of the Wild. Just never played it. Haven't had Nintendo since the 64 days. Yeah, long time. So, wow, kind of showing my age a little bit, but yeah. And it was something about Immortal Phoenix Rising that really got my attention. It stood out. And I'm having a lot of fun with that game. I'm having a lot of fun, so I'm going to do another video about my top 5 most anticipated games of 2021. Stay tuned for that video in the next 2 days. And this is Trying to See the Games. I'm going to holler at y'all.